am just going to go ahead and get into the review right now. So this is the Wattpad book. So again, if anybody's interested in reading this book, it is available on Wattpad for free. And it's coming out in a serial, so it's not actually completed yet. So you can read it chapter by chapter, which is kind of fun. I prefer to binge read my books, because I can't, like, if it's a really good one, I cannot put it down. But this one is still coming out, which is really cool. And they just started it, and I think that they're going to be continually updating it on a regular basis. Sevenfold Fate. It is written by the author ReadToWriteMore. And ReadToWriteMore says that they are a fresh graduate from South Carolina, currently temporarily living in Texas to get their master's. While she's always had an undeniable attraction for reading and writing, she grew up a student athlete, so she never had time to fully dive into it. Now that her daily schedule is starting to free up, she's been trying to scribble all of her ideas down and write them whenever she can, with ambitious dreams that one day one of her ideas will take off. Her top favorite things in life right now are being freshly married, coffee, and hoodies. So love that. Congratulations, by the way, on the marriage. I hope you love married life. And also, I also love coffee and hoodies. I can't drink a lot of coffee. My stomach aches, but I'm right there with you on hoodies for sure. And also, I do see that you are scribbling all of your ideas down, because I see that you have 4 works in progress on your website. But I was really interested in reading Sevenfold Fate. And specifically, it looks like ReadToWriteMore had said that this is their most planned out book that they have. So they must have had a proper outline for the book. And so that was the part of the reason why I actually chose this, because they were they've thought it through. They know how it's going to go. They know how it's going to end. And there's something called a writing style called pantsing, or being a pantser, or something like that. I don't actually know. It's the first time I've heard about it, but it's basically just people who are writing as they go, just enjoying the exploration process of writing. And this, I always appreciate forethought in writing. I want you to know what's going to happen beforehand. Otherwise, as a reader, you can tell. And I love to read, so I've read a lot. And I like this with movies and TV specifically, because I hate watching a TV show and through the seasons, you can tell that they're just trying to continue the story. And it's really frustrating when it's they're just making stuff up, and it's then you watch a TV show that's based off of a book that's already been completed, and they know where it's going, and it's just a whole different quality. So I love that. Things that are thought out ahead of time, I think that they just kind of turn out better. And as a reader, I appreciate forethought. So I appreciated that she said that it's all mapped out, or I'm assuming she just based on the way that they write, but I could be wrong. But anyways, that is kind of the ask on this one. They didn't have any specific want for or request for I want you to specifically look up this or whatever. So I'm just going to get right into my first impressions of this book. There are only 3 chapters. So normally I would only read a book if it's already completed, because I want to give the book a review as a whole. However, I decided to read this one, first of all, because they asked me so nicely and they said it's all planned out. And I thought, okay, well, it's good to take a break from reading so much, because I'm reading about 2 books a week right now, which is a lot around the holidays, especially with 2 kids. And we're all getting sick right now. So it is nice to just kind of read something a little bit small, but I'm really excited for this one, because if I do a review now on my first impressions, and then once they're completed, I do a second review, it'll be cool to see the contrast between what my first impressions are versus what actually happened during the book. So I'm very excited to kind of rehash this a few months from now, or whenever this book gets finished, a year from now or whatever, to see the difference. So let's get to it. So this is, again, Sevenfold Fate, and I'm just going to go over the overview that is provided by the author. So this was written by Read to Write More. First of all, I love that name, by the way, because you should read to write more and better, and to always improve on your writing if you are writing. I think that there's a lot of writers out there who just can't read. And there is one writer in particular that I know doesn't read, and they are a very talented writer, but I feel like it can only improve the craft if you read, or if you read more. So, anyways, so let's see here. So this is the about the book from the author. And excuse me, author, if you're watching this and I pronounce anything wrong, you have a lot of made up words here, and I am just going to read them as I read them in my head. So I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing them wrong. The Carnesian Empire has been under a generational curse for centuries, ever since its emperor performed a covetous ritual to gain an eternal life and power over his kingdom. However, the curse backfired, dividing the empire into 7 sectors, each representative of one of the 7 deadly sins, and he was condemned to watch his people suffer generation after generation. A group of university students, each born from one of the sin-inflicted sectors, begin to realize they can control their curse, using their sin not as a limitation but as an advantage. Each student will face both internal and external conflicts as they try to uncover an end to the curse. A battle ensues and serves to test their friendship and dedication to their mission. As their final act, the students realize they must confront the source of the curse itself. There, the true nature of the curse is revealed, and the students face their final, most difficult trial yet as they fight to end the curse once and for all. The tags on this book are battle, college, curse, deadly, emperor, empire, enemies to lovers, envy, fate, fighting, found friendship, friend group, friendship, gluttony, greed, lust, pride, 7 deadly sins, sloth, students, survival, university, wrath. You know what just occurred to me? I had no idea that tags were in alphabetical order. I was like, oh, well, now it's obvious that they are in alphabetical order. But anyways, yeah, those are the tags. So that's what you're given as far as an introduction to this story. I think very, very strong intro, very exciting, very unique story. And it's intriguing to me. So it's just, there's a lot you can do with this book, I think, with this idea. So I'm very excited about it. As far as the title and the cover, I wanted to do a specific review on that. So the title, Sevenfold Fate, implies a lot. So whenever I think of Sevenfold, I think of either a sevenfold knot or Avenged Sevenfold, the band. But basically Sevenfold just means 7 times. And fate, of course, is with destiny, or what happens. So I think that that's appropriate because you're dealing with the 7 deadly sins. I think it's exciting. Sevenfold Fate just screams adventure, screams, there's this, exciting thing that happens. So I think that's a great title. As far as the cover goes, I'm not sure about the cover. I'm pretty sure that this was made with a great destiny. Yes. I think that the cover was made with AI, which is totally normal and fine for Wattpad. I don't think that I was assuming that this was the university that's described in the intro. However, I don't think that it is based on the description. It sounds like the university is like downtown or something, based on the description in the first chapter. So not sure about that. Very exciting though. It looks kind of Hogwartsy, which I think is actually kind of on brand for this story. Not that there's magic or anything. I mean, obviously there was a curse and a ritual and stuff, but nobody's referenced magic so far in the first 3 chapters. But the book cover definitely screams magic. Something magical. And again, Harry Pottery. So here's a little character breakdown, and the author does provide character aesthetics in the in the very first the author's note of the book, which is, I don't know if anybody here has ever seen those, but it's basically like they have like face claims or look inspirations and like quotes and stuff like that. It's a character aesthetic for each of the characters who represent the 7 deadly sins. So it's again, a really cool idea, but it's looking at those, it's pretty clear what to do, like what the deal with the characters are. And, of course, beautiful teenagers or apparently people in their early adulthood. So there's that. So you have a clear picture of the characters prior to the story. And I know that some people don't like character aesthetics because they think that they want the author to do the hard work of helping create the character aesthetics for the reader through the written word. I personally love them, but I do find myself completely relying on them all the time. So I specifically I kept going back to the character aesthetics to look at them because they're super fun to look at, and to be like, oh, okay, that's Cain, that's Medora, whatever, and just getting kind of more of a feel for what they are. And you get hints at the character, but again, that can kind of go both ways, as far as like I want to be able to read this character, not just get this character aesthetic where I'm getting the bullet points on them super quickly. Like that's just something that I've heard of. I love character aesthetics though. I think they're super fun, but make sure that you're also replacing all of that character aesthetic at some point in the book and not relying on your readers actually reading them if anybody out there is thinking about creating them. So the main character, at least it starts out the first 2 chapters, the main character is Medora. She represents the sin pride. She's essentially Little Miss Perfect. But she's also under a lot of pressure by her parents, who are also embody the sin pride. There is a gentleman named Cain who embodies wrath. He is a boxer, like a boxer, and which makes sense, right, with wrath. And apparently, Cain sounds hot already. You know what? They're all hot. That's what's so great about writing a book. Everybody's beautiful. You can just assume they are. Seja, and I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that one. Seja represents envy, and I love what the author did with this character, because she's not like envy bitter. She is envy, and she and keep in mind, these are like communities that embody this sin. So it's not just the single character that embodies it. It's an entire community. So they're all from these communities. Anyways, so Seja embodies envy, and she's like a gossip columnist, like she's a journalist major or whatever. And she's a very close friends with Medora, the pride gal. And she like writes about people. And so it's like, that is such a clever way to put envy into something productive. Like, oh, I want to be you, so I'm going to write about you, and I'm going to use you to further myself. Basically clawing up a person to get to go up the ladder because you just are envious and you want to be more like them. So you're writing about them and you're using them. Hello, Dion DB. Welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And then there is Evren, who represents greed. And this is another one where, so Evren's the male, and I'm thinking he might be the love interest, or maybe I'm just hoping he'll be the love interest. I'm not sure. But Evren represents greed, and it's so... okay, and this is me relying on the character aesthetic because we haven't gotten enough from Evren to know about... to know more about his character, but he is #Team Cain. I am Okay, I know I'm going through the characters right now, so I'll let you know whose team I am on. Okay, so Everin represents greed again, and he is a criminal, I think. Like, I think that he is, like, there shows like a lock picking thing on his character aesthetic, and so I was like, oh, immediately I'm in love, you know. So I love my criminals. I don't know if what it is about criminals, but I just love to read about them, and I just love them. Okay, bad boy. You know what though, Vane Baby? I think they might all be bad boys. So I'll get to all of them, but I think Kane is a bad boy because he has a lot of anger, right? So he's like this brooding person. Your enthusiasm makes me want to read this book. Well, I will provide a link, and you should read. Okay, I don't want to forget. I want to jump ahead, but I do actually really like the beginning of this book. So, spoiler alert, I really liked the beginning of the book. So, so Everin represents greed, and it's just the author, I feel like, did such a cool thing with all of these because it's like kind of greed mixed with envy. So the greed people, I would assume if I was creating a community of people who are greedy, I would assume that they'd be like hoarders. I know, sorry, not spoilers, spoilers to the review. Spoilers of the review. Usually I wait until I do like the breakdown of what's provided and then I say whether or not I liked it. But okay, yeah, spoiler alert, I liked it. I'm going to say positive things about this, my first impressions of this book. So anyways, again, if I were writing a book or writing a world that is built off of the seven deadly sins, I would assume that greedy people would be like the one percenters, right? The greedy people are actually the have-nots in this situation. So it's almost like envy blended with greed. I don't know, but I like it. And I think it's super, super fun. Nadia is the next main character. She represents gluttony. And they're like connoisseurs. They're like foodies. That's gluttony. I want to know more about gluttony. But she just seems like kind of a sweet girl, Nadia, this other main character. She just seems sweet and she loves food, and you're introduced to her by she's eating a powdered donut and she's like wiping powder off of her face or something. So I don't know if I was going to be one of these things. I'm thinking I might be gluttony. You know, if you were to pick yourself to be, which you always do whenever there's these type of personality type distinctions in a book or in a series or whatever, you're always like, oh, I would be from Gryffindor, or I would be in abnegation, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, starting to think I might be gluttony if I was one of those because I love food. The next main character, and you don't get a lot from Nadia. The next main character is Adonis, who is lust, and he is a typical playboy. He is LOL sweet tooth. Yes, I have a sweet tooth. I have a savory tooth too. I've got all the teeth. I've got a full set. Hashtag Team Adonis. Yes, so Adonis is lust, and he is so far he's just really charming, but he uses his charm to get like under people's skin, and I feel like he uses his lust to control people. You don't get a lot from Adonis other than he is annoying to the main character. And him and Everin, the greed guy, the criminal guy that I really like, they kind of like connect when they see each other. Like they kind of like feel, you get the feeling that they think they're the smartest people in the room, and they might be right. Like they have this like charisma to them. So that's Adonis. And then lastly is Cassian, who represents sloth. And I think he might be my favorite character. So, and Sloth, he strolls in late. He's very like tired looking. He's very, he's quiet according to his character aesthetic. He is that guy from that band Voila, the blonde guy with the long hair. And I don't know if you guys have heard of that band Voila, but they're relatively new. It's like one band member, and he like just found this model, and the model of course is the character aesthetic guy, found this model, and then they sang, and I have one of their songs on one of my playlists. I don't know what it is, but anyways, it's this like blonde, long-haired model, and he's a thinker, not a doer. And so I have a feeling that he's just quiet and smart. Also, I ship him and Seja, the sweet gluttonous girl, or excuse me, Nadia, the sweet gluttonous girl. I think that they would be cute together, but I don't know. I'm just gonna ship everybody. So that is the character breakdown. Ship has sailed. Yeah. So going off of that, you're just already working with great characters. I love the start of this. Like, you have the seven deadly sins represented in these seven young adults, and they are considered the best of their class. So they're smart. There's a reason why they're at this university. So I'm jumping ahead again. I'm just so excited. So those are the main characters. Very excited about the main characters. There's depth to each and every one of them. And again, I read 3 chapters. They're not terribly long chapters, but I already want to know more about every single one of these characters. So I'm excited about this book. Okay. It is set in a city called Carnus. The school is Carnus Arcanum. So Carnus Arcanum is the university that is referenced earlier, where like the best of the best are allowed to go to this university. So the best of each, I'm going to call them factions. The author calls them sectors, excuse me. So the best of each sector. So each like sin has they send their best and brightest to this university so they can practice unity. Because for the most part, these sectors don't get along terribly well, but at the university, they are kind of supposed to rub shoulders, right? These are the future leaders of this empire. So you're going to want them to know each other. You're going to want them to like each other. You're going to want them to make alliances in order for the country to be strong. This is, again, not this. This is just from the author showing me in 3 short chapters, or normal size chapters. And this is all of my thoughts basically on that. But that's the university. And so what happens is, and this I think is like the inciting incident, is these 7 young adults are grouped together on a group project. And the group project is to basically talk about why unity is important. Because this is a very, very separate, they're very siloed, these different sectors. So their assignment in their university is to talk about unity. And so that's great. That's a great way to start. So there is a team of totally different people are getting together and trying to get the best grade in the class, because I'm pretty sure they're all competitive. If you're the best of the best, I would imagine that you're competitive. You don't end up at Harvard without being competitive, unless you're just a super genius and everything comes easy to you, which I'm sure those people exist, but probably not the majority, right? So a little bit of the plot breakdown. I feel like I've gone over a lot already, but it's giving Divergent, Hogwarts houses, Hunger Games district vibes, right? So you have like these different sectors, and so that's immediately interesting. They're devoted to the 7 deadly sins, and each of their sectors, the sin is, they like to consider it a divine gift instead of a, ailment but it's considered a gift that contributes to the strength of the empire. Now, as far as openings go, obviously I'm really excited about this book. I think it's very, very intriguing, very engaging. I think the author does an excellent job of making the reader interested in the book. I think that it's also well written. I think there's just a lot going on with this book that I absolutely loved. There's a really great balance of imagery and thoughts. There's plenty of showing without telling. Like, I feel like I understood so much without it being described to me, right? You understand the pressure that Medora, the Pride representative, is feeling from her parents based on their success and the way that they communicate with her. There's just you understand the pressure that also Kane, the anger guy, Mango, your guy, is under. You understand the pressure that he's under for keeping his scholarship with having anger issues and trying to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, trying to harness his anger into something productive with fighting and turning it into determination. Like, all of this stuff is not spoken, it is shown to us. It's amazing. Love the writing style. Very easy to follow. It's an intriguing and a unique subject. It's seeing these faults as virtues is such an interesting take. And the world building in this book seemed completely effortless. I know that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is world building. Because you just want to do an info dump. You're like, look, I have this really cool world in my head. Let me tell you all about it. And so you want, like, these authors want to like rush into it and be like, and kind of tell this story like, once upon a time there was this country and this and this and this happened. And so everybody did this. No, this author doesn't do this. You just step into the main character's shoes and you walk down the block and you learn so much in just like a few pages from the way that the author did it. This is a amateur writer. This is something that she's kind of just playing with. I'm very excited about this author honing her craft and writing more. So read to write more. I hope you do write more. If you're watching this, I hope you do write more, because I'm very impressed with the first 3 chapters of one of your works in progress that I have read. I like your writing style. I think that you have a talent. And I think that you get the basics. So you already have a jump ahead. So as far as Wattpad goes, just know you are top 10% quality in my opinion as far as Wattpad writers. And depending on how this book ends, I may even put you on my would pay money to read. This definitely seems like a book that I would go to Barnes and Noble, read the first chapter and be like, yep, I'm going to read this, you know? Hey, Cherry. Just in time to hear the huge compliments for this writer. Yeah, no, I really liked this book. I'm surprised. So, okay, read to write more. Yeah, go read to write more. I'm very, very excited about reading more from you. So, read more of what you're written. Love the name title. It's just perfect. Plays on so many different levels. As far as more strengths that this book has, you immediately make the main character relatable. And I am assuming that Medora is the main character. She's the first introduced, and it seems very natural to be walking through her shoes. Although, yeah, it's the Cherry. It's our girl. But I'm assuming that we are going to get a POV from every single one of these people. So I think they're all going to share main character roles, and I have a feeling that they are all going to be very relatable. I'm most curious about how Envy is going to play into all of this, because I have a feeling that she's going to screw some stuff up, because Envy is a toxic, like they're all toxic sins, right? But when you're envious, that envy can turn, like what she's doing is she's turning it into productive. She's made Medora her muse rather, but that could turn sour. Envy is not a good thing. You want to see people fail when you're envious. You want to see these, you want to see, the paparazzi loves to take ugly pictures of celebrities. The paparazzi loves to write horrible stories about how somebody's getting a divorce. You know, that's envy at its finest. And that's who I feel like Seja, and I'm so sorry again if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I feel like that's who Seja is embodying, is kind of like a paparazzi, columnist, highly intelligent, but also envious. And so I'm just looking for her to betray everybody around her. And again, there's been no hints at that. It's so great because I just get to speculate. Anyways, what else have I said about this one? I'm just looking through my notes. So as far as the main character, again, with Medora, the Pride representative, I'm looking for, because she's like Miss Perfect. I'm picturing at her as that one actress that she is in Riverdale. She's like, something Lodge, Veronica Lodge. She plays Veronica Lodge. That's who I picture in my head, even though there's a picture provided in the character aesthetic. That's who I'm pictured because she gets typecast as like Miss Perfect, in control, beautiful, charismatic. That's Camila. Thank you, Mango, you freaking king. Camila Mendez. Yes, I'm picturing her in my head for the main character Medora. So I am looking forward to her. Yeah, Celebrity Hellfest. Yeah, she's pretty beautiful. I can see that. So I'm really, really looking forward to either all of that pressure that comes onto her perfectionism, her need to be in control, her need to be seen as absolutely perfect. I want to see, I'm guessing she's either going to break the mold and break free and get to be a free spirit, or she is going to crumble to pieces. So that's like my theory of what's going to happen with that character. I'm imagining a lot of character development for all of these characters because you're blending up 7 very, very different people and mashing them together. So I am guessing that they are going to affect each other, right? So that is my thoughts on that. I love that, again, that Greed is depicted as somebody who is a have-not, desperate to be a have. I had to walk 4 blocks and sneak into an old folks community center because Google didn't give me good directions. So I'm in their computer room next door to the actual library, stealing library Wi-Fi, all because Starbucks no longer has outlets for accessible Wi-Fi. Oh my gosh, Cherry. We love criminal Cherry. What the heck are you doing? Why don't you just go home and catch it later? You watch a recording if you really want to see it, but we love to have it. We love to have you. Thank you so much for coming. Oh my gosh. And yeah, don't question street activities. Okay, I won't go against Cherry. I rarely go against Cherry. And yes, it's the dedication. I don't deserve her. I have to be over here for my appointment, and it's too close to the end of the stream to sit in traffic between. Oh, I see. I would just have my phone like blasting through the speakers, you know? But anyways, you do you. I won't criticize, and I won't feel bad that you're just such a good friend. So you're the bomb, Cherry. Everybody knows it, especially me. As far as Sevenfold Fate goes, I am just really looking forward to seeing how the characters develop, how the plot's developed, how the adventure comes into play. I immediately can see the struggle that each of these people is having with their virtues. And I'm thinking the intention of the author is that they're going to develop these characters with the moral of the story being that these are not, in fact, virtues and are damaging to ourselves and others. Now, that's a lot. You know, I don't know if that's where the author is going. I feel like it is because, you know, the pride and envy and lust and anger and greed, those are harmful to us as humans. And so I think that these characters are going to feel it. They're going to feel the weight of the curse that's on them. And it's like, I don't know how high up in levels or how like big-minded this author is going to get with this story, but it is a heavy topic if you want it to be. It could be a it could be literature. So I am reading this as commercial, like commercial book, right? Something that is entertaining, that I like the characters, I like the plot, very plot driven, you know, that's commercial, right? You have a genre, you have you know, an exciting plot, you have an exciting world, that's commercial. What literature is something that makes you think. It's something that changes the way that you feel about things. This book, depending on how the plot goes, has the potential to be literature, depending on what the author intends for it. I'm happy with it just being commercial. I'm still going to read it. I'm still going to be excited. But if it has the potential to go further just based on the subject matter alone. There's so much vast potential, but it's going to be a huge project if developed even on a shallow level. I can see easily 1K plus pages. I don't know. I don't know what the author's intention is here. They're able to the skill of the author is able to put a lot of ideas and a lot of vision with not a lot there. They're so good at the showing instead of the telling that I have and I really hope I'm not freaking the author out right now, but I have every hope that they are, and I believe in them as an author to be able to do whatever they want in a small period of, small book size or a large book size. I mean, we'll see what they do. They said that it is their most planned out novel. Which is more exciting the more I think about it. It's like, oh, what do you have planned out? Do you just have like the basic plot outline and that's the most you've ever planned out? Or do you have like the symbolism and imagery and exactly what you want planned out? So because I don't know this author at all. So anyways, I'm excited. I'm excited about this book, clearly. So those are what and then, as far as working together as a team, that could be another subtopic, is that there's strength in diversity. I mean, you want to be around people that are different than you. They make you better. And especially if you're working on a project, you want people who are completely different. I mean, there was this one example, and I was at work, and there was like this strength in diversity, classic, the annual trainings that we all have to go through at work. Well, there was this one, and they were saying like there is strength in diversity, and a great example is when this one company was talking about building their next office building. They were going to build the next office building, and so they were meeting with architects, and they had somebody from every single department involved in the planning of their building. And the architect had this like huge sculpture planned, and it was involved lights and involved all this stuff, and it was going to be beautiful. Everybody was very excited, as far as like an architect's dream, as far as being like maybe even a potential destination, like very, very cool building. And they invited the maintenance team to these meetings, and the maintenance team was like, that will be a disaster. This whole huge sculpture that you're planning to make vital to the building is going to be impossible to clean. It will collect dust and nobody's going to be able to clean it, and it will be impossible to fix. So this is going to be something that if you want to keep it, it's going to cost you this much extra per year to maintain. And it was like, that stuff is important to know. So who would have known that the cleaning ladies, and I'm sorry, when I said maintenance team, I was talking about the cleaning ladies, not the people who do repairs and stuff. But the cleaning ladies were very, very important to that meeting. They rethought everything based around the fact that they wanted something that was, not only lovely and wonderful, but also easy to maintain. So it's just one of those things where you think about strength and diversity. You need everybody that you can there for these big, important things. And this, what was the name of the city again? Or the Empire? Karnas is the name of the city. They need all hands on deck. Their emperor had this curse, and they need to, have everybody on board and doing their best work for it. So, anyways, those are like my initial thoughts on the plot. I liked so much about this book. It is very intriguing. I as a reader, it's exactly the type of thing I would like to read. As a very specific type of reader. I mean, I like fantasy. I like adventure. I like intriguing characters. And when I say unique, I mean I'm one person, but I feel like I represent quite a few people. I like romance, and I don't think that this is going to be very mature. Let me see what they put as far violence, PG-13, romance, nothing crazy. Immediately, so I love that because they're not going to be relying on smut for readers. They're going to be relying on the plot. They're going to be relying on characters. I love that. So anyways, very, very strong start Read to Write More. I absolutely loved the first 3 chapters of your book. Clearly, I'm very excited about it, and I will be reading it for fun as you write it. Right, and I have 0 time to read anything extra. I'm reading so much right now because I'm reading my book club book, and then I'm reading my Watt Club books every week. And then I'm only reading one Wattpad book right now that is just for my own fun, and I love that book. It's a sequel to this book that I read last year by this Australian author, which she's incredible. So that is and I am like desperate to read more, and I don't have time. She wrote it like forever ago, and I haven't had time to finish it, and it pisses me off because she's one of my favorite authors. But anyways, I'm reading 1 book, and now I'm upping that to reading 2 books. So as you post these chapters, I'm really hoping to keep up with you because I'm really excited about your book, and I'm definitely going to be a reader. And I'm a huge commenter, so you are absolutely going to love me as a reader. Wattpad people love me as a reader because I comment a crap ton. It was, in the beginning, I commented so much I was worried it was like people were going to get annoyed. Apparently that's not a thing. As a writer on Wattpad, I'm Wattpad people, yes. Cherry is my favorite Wattpad author, obviously. I won't get into it, but favorite Wattpad author, and I comment a lot, and I love to comment, and I need to. Otherwise I like itch. I'm like, I need to comment on that. In fact, I was at the gym working out and reading because I was on the stair climber, and I can read as I'm on the stair climber, which is really nice. And, but I can't really like comment while I'm on the stair climber. So I was reading a book this morning. I was reading your book this morning, and I kept like lowering the speed so that I could comment really quick. And then I kept increasing the speed so I can go back to just reading. But, that is how I like to do things. I can't like not comment on certain things. So anyways, I'm definitely planning on reading, this book as we go on. So big high praise as far as I'm going to be making time in my very busy schedule. I got a husband, I got 2 kids, I got the holidays. I am reading every book underneath the sun right now. I work, and I am going to be giving my precious, precious time to you, Read to Write More, because I'm so excited about this book. So anyways, if you want to know if you have a strong start, I believe that you do. Now, I do have a couple random notes about the beginning of your book, and I hope that this is helpful information. The end of chapter 1 needs a scene break and probably a bigger hook. So after they receive their assignment, which I guess I'm guessing is the inciting incident, it just jumps back home, and there's no scene break. And so you can do that with like a line or a symbol or several spaces or something. It's to each their own as far as scene breaks. It does need a scene break if you're going to go back home. But I do think that the end of chapter 1, which a lot of people will only read 1 chapter to determine whether or not they're going to keep reading, and it's a great first chapter, but at the end of the first chapter, it fizzles. So you want to strengthen the end of that first chapter. You want that to be, something where there's mystery, trepidation about the assignment, like maybe get into the characters. Wattpad deletes the horizontal lines if you're writing on another platform such as Google Docs or MS Word. Thank you, Cherry. So note to you, Read to Write More if you're watching this. If you are going to be using seed breaks, do something different. You know what I like to do? I like to do a dash, then an emoji that is on theme with the book, and then another dash. I saw one of my other favorite authors on Wattpad do that, where the book was about a ghost, and they had like a little the ghost emoji, and I thought that was really, really cute. Yep, veteran Cherry with the Wattpad tip, or with the amazing tips. Yes, she's amazing. You use the squiggly. The squigglies are perfect. You can have a lot of fun with it, or you can just do something simple, but it does need a scene break at the end if that's what you're planning. I just, because of the quality of the book so far and because of the quality of the chapter, I think that you should really spend some energy on being creative with remembering that if you have a reader that's on the fence, hook them right then and there, either with something that they're going to want to know about, or a character that they're going to want to know about. Why should I keep reading this? What makes the assignment that they're doing more interesting? Also, I thought the assignment was a little bit confusing. Maybe have the teacher do a little bit more of an explanation of what is the assignment. If I was a student and they were like, oh, okay, here's your group, and I want you to tell me what is unity, I'd be like, teacher, I need more information than that. Do you have an example? I'm going to need more information. And you're the fresh out of college student. It's been a long time since I was in school. But I would definitely want a little bit more information on the assignment, as long as it's interesting, because I do believe that the assignment, that's the inciting incident, right? That's the reason why this group is getting together. That's the reason they're going to be diving into the curse. I think that it's important, but only include it if you write it interestingly, right? And then again, leave us wanting more in that first chapter. It just fizzles at the end. Not that it's poorly written, it's definitely well written, but it's, I don't know, sink your claws into us on that one. Okay. A cliffhanger would be good. I would say just for the first chapter, something that makes us want to be like, wait, what? What are they talking about? What are they thinking? Like, I don't know. You got this. I believe in you. Another thing is there is punctuation errors that are in there, and obviously you know what you're doing as far as writing goes, but there are punctuation errors for there's something, and I didn't know this when I first started writing. There's something called an action tag or a dialogue tags, or right. So it's like you put the quotation. It always helps to have a second pair of eyes. Yes. So when you are punctuating within quotation marks, you're going to end it either in a period, exclamation point, question mark, or a comma. A comma you would put if you are going into a, description. I said, he muttered, they elaborated, they explained, blah, blah, blah. Those are all, they are saying this. So that is a dialogue tag. An action tag is when you would put the period or whatever instead of a comma. And then the punctuation is different, or the capitalization is different. Anyways, just make sure you look into that, because I noticed that throughout all 3 chapters, there are just errors with that. And that is coming from someone who is not that great at catching stuff like that. But I did notice that stuff. Other than that, I didn't notice anything spelling or grammatical really. And then another note is the curse that is referenced is more referenced in your summary of the book, in your tagline. I would hit harder on that in the first chapter or the second chapter when it's brought up when they're discussing the project. I would talk about the curse a bit more. Again, it should be part of your world building. It seems very short what you're including, but in the summary, it's spelled out. It's a little bit more detailed. Do not think that people are going to read your summary. A lot of people will not read your summary. A lot of people will look at the cover, maybe they'll look at the tags, and then they'll go straight to the book. So that's just some advice there, is if you are including that, just make sure people are your summary is not part of your book. So if you want people to know about that first thing, yes, I'm people. I am also people, actually. Sometimes, and I don't realize it until later, because I think, I'm always going to read the summary. I'm always going to read the prologue. I'm always going to look at the character aesthetics. Sometimes I actually don't, though. And I realize that, and I don't realize it until after. Skim the summary at best. Yes, a lot of people don't. And a lot of people also don't read prologues. You don't have a prologue, or they don't read the author's note. A lot of people skip the author's note, assume that nobody is doing that, assume that nobody is looking at those character aesthetics as well. Don't rely on any of that. You need to walk us through from chapter 1 on, everything that you want us to know, everything that you want us to feel, right? Cherry is Wattpad readers, people, the best, the GOAT, Misanthrope's #1 fan. What can't she do? Probably parallel park. Cherry, do you know how to parallel park? I don't know. I can't. I literally parked on the sidewalk the other day. You do know how to parallel park. Then you are amazing. I went to go pick up some takeout the other day, and so I knew I was just gonna run in and run out. I don't know what's wrong with me. I cannot parallel park to save my life. I know exactly what you're supposed to do. But anyways, the other day I cut too hard, ended up parking my whole back end of my car onto the sidewalk, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna get out. And I just so I'm like parked up halfway on the, like just one of my tires was up on the sidewalk. And I went in to go get my Thai food, came back out, and there were some people walking by as I was pulling out, driving off of the sidewalk. And it's like bounce, bounce. So anyways, it's not a skill that I have. So I don't parallel park when I have to. I don't mind walking a little bit further if I don't have to parallel park. Somewhere I have a photo of my flawless parallel parking job on street sweeping day when I had a huge hangover. You got to find it. That's the ticket. That's a ticket. Be careful. Well, I was in there for like 10 minutes and it was like 7:00 at night. So there were no meter maids. Luckily, there was no cops driving by either. I maybe could have charmed my way out of it if I saw them writing me a ticket. I don't know. I don't think I've ever charmed my way out of a ticket though. I'm looking for it now. I'll post it in the server. Thank you, Cherry. I would really love to see it. I should start taking pictures of my parking jobs because I get out of the car and I'm always double checking. And I'm just talking about regular parking at a grocery store in a parking lot. I'll go to park and I'll be like, I double check this, Missy, because you're going to get this wrong. And I always look and I'm like, yep, I would not want to park next to me. I'm like really close to the line or over the line or completely crooked. So I always end up getting out and reparking. And it's embarrassing. I don't know what happened to me. Like my spatial awareness sucks now. I don't know. Anyways, sorry I went off the rails if you're watching this review. But bless you for reparking. Well, I always repark. I've had people like watch me repark. Like I am an angel. It's true. I'm literally the best person on this planet for reparking my car. I have a quote that you seriously are. Thank you. I have a quote that I actually, as far as like I'm going over my random notes on the book. There is a quote, and I think it's at the end of the second chapter, and this is Medora's POV. She says, as the door slammed shut behind the last of them, Medora began to pack her things, letting out a slow breath. The first meeting was over, but she couldn't shake the growing unease that they'd hardly made any progress. How would she ever get this group to work together? And I think that the first meeting actually went really well, in my opinion, because you do a good job, I'm always talking directly to the author. The author does a really good job of, again, world building and explaining that these are completely different people that would not traditionally get along very well. And I think they do a good job. They're collaborative, they're intelligent, there is... the differences are made very apparent the second that they meet. But I think that the meeting went well. So I think that either you should increase the tension somehow with that chapter if you do actually want it to seem like the meeting went well, or you should make it clear that this is just Medora being a perfectionist. She wanted it to go better. She, wanted them to listen to her and respect her leadership a little bit more, or whatever. The perfectionist in her, if that's why she's saying that, then that makes sense. But I do think that as far as that meeting went, I think it did go well. So if you want the readers to think it didn't go well, you got to tweak it a little bit. Or if you want us to believe that Medora is just being a perfectionist, maybe hint at that a little bit in that paragraph, because this is at the end of chapter 2, I think. My favorite quotes are, this is a different one, because normally I quote things that are super funny or romantic or something. And so far there's nothing funny and nothing terribly funny, in this, book so far, which tells you how much I must like it, because I love funny stuff. It's always my favorite. But my favorite quote is, after all, the school's slogan wasn't just for show, a beacon of unity, a legacy of the elite. That tells you so much in that one sentence. A beacon of unity, a legacy of the elite. That is what is expected from those that are attending this university in, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words. 9 words. And I know a lot of what I need to know about what is going on in this university. So as far as favorite quotes go, bravo, author. And then a second quote that I really liked was, yes, beautiful line. Each sector viewed their sin as a divine gift, a unique contribution to the empire's survival and prosperity. Throughout the week, special events. Hang on. Oh, I just got your video. What the heck? That is perfect. I thought it was going to be a funny one, Cherry. Sorry, I'm looking at the video. I'm looking at the picture of Cherry's parallel park job. But it is perfect. I guess I couldn't have done that. That's for sure. Sorry, I should close this. Starting over. You can show it. It was my old address. There's drinking and driving reference, Cherry. Are you sure? Let's see. Yeah, I think I would definitely not be able to. An old car. I would not have been able to do that. Also, I don't know how to share that on here because I can show you the picture, but it won't show up. Can you see it? Yeah, you can't see it very well. I'm looking at it on my phone. This is my phone, everybody. So, okay. Each sector viewed their sin as a divine gift, a unique contribution to the empire's survival and prosperity. Throughout the week, special events are held in each sector to honor their ruling sin. Beauty competitions in Carissa. I'm going to say Carissa, not Charissa. I don't know how it's actually, but I was just thinking of the word charisma when I read it. So I was saying Carissa. Elaborate feast in Savorin and extravagant balls and networking banquets in Icara, where individual achievements are celebrated with splendor. So another thing where it's like, that is one paragraph and you learn so much about what is important to these different sectors. I love it. I love it. It's amazing. So anyways, those are my favorite quotes. I also love, so Medora, the Pride representatives, parents are like really high up on the food chain. And her dad is like the general of the Legion of Shadows. What a cool name. I'm picturing so much. The Legion of Shadows. I love it. And then her mom's like governor of the Seven. Like, that is cool. This writing is cool. It is intriguing. She has these cool names of Carissa and Savarin and Icara. Like, my mind's immediately going, Icara. Oh, Icarus. He flew too close to the sun. Carissa, charisma. Like, what's that about? Savarin, savoring, gluttony. Like, I'm loving it all. I'm loving it all, guys. I'm loving this book. I'm loving the beginning of the book. For Wattpad, again, top 10%. Freaking love it. You killed it as far as my first impressions of the book. Very, very excited about it. I don't know. Maybe you just got me in a good mood. Yeah, very cool naming convention. Everything about it is cool. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, I don't understand that. You know, like if you've never heard the story of, Icarus, you may not be like, may not think anything of it. It's still cool. They're still cool names. I don't know. It's awesome. Great job. Read to Write More. I'm very excited of reading this. Please make sure that you write steadily. I don't want you to lose. Just because you have a lot of works in progress right now. And so you can lose focus and you can, write one, you can write one book And that, and then for like a full month, and post updates, once or twice a week for a full month. And then about midway, when it's like starting to get hard, or you're coming up against a plot point that's going to be difficult to write, you switch to one of your works in progress. And then you spend 2 months on that one before you come back. You can lose readers like that. So if you ever get ahead, save those chapters. I just don't want you to lose readers, and I want Wattpad to see you. It's good for the algorithm for you to post regularly. I honestly, I would love for you to win a Wattie too. I don't know. I love the book so far, and it's very good for Wattpad. And depending on how the plot goes, again, it could be one of those books that I would pay money for, which is basically how I measure how good a book is. So anyways, I'm going to end my, write ahead and then queue up posts for weekly or bi-weekly if you can. Yes, that's good advice. That is not something that a lot of people follow, but the people who do follow it, it's good for the algorithm, and it's good for Wattpad. If Wattpad is watching you, they want to know if you're posting regularly so that they can monetize you or put you in one of their programs. Number go up. Yes. It's great. I always watching. Wattpad's got their eye on you. But anyways, it is a good book. I think that I'm excited to read more. I would recommend this to people, of course. I obviously am recommending it to people. And yeah, anyways, that is my review of Sevenfold Fate. Thank you so much for reaching out and asking if I could review your book. I'm so glad that I decided to review it, even though it's not a completed story, because it was very intriguing to read the beginning. Very strong start, Read to Write More. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me either directly on Wattpad, or my Discord is linked everywhere. You can message me directly on Discord, and I would love to chat with you. Thank you again for letting me review your book. So now that I am all done with talking about Sevenfold Fate, hang on, let me